All right, we're back. It's your favorite baseball bald guys. I'm Brandon Del Castillo with my brother Brian Del Castillo, and we're here to talk baseball with you again. Just as a little recap, we are all things baseball, but with a strong emphasis on Houston baseball. So please find us at B Del Castillo 57 on Twitter, and
Baby Bull DC on Twitter as well. We also
and
have the Facebook page that we're posting most of our content to. You'll find the links to the YouTube channel, and that is Basebald, Basebald, all one word.
all right. Well, last time we ended up talking about Biggio and the Hall of Fame and what was happening that week. And since then, I think the very next day we got some big news in Houston. We got a new bald guy coming to town.
El Oso Blanco.
Oso Blanco. Evan Gaddis. Big trade. I put an article out there on Baseball, so you can go ahead and read that. But basically, I'm for it. I'm excited. I think it extends the lineup, makes us pretty strong in the middle, gives us a lot of power. You got Fowler, who's an underrated on-base guy, getting on at the top of the lineup. Altuve getting on base, as long as he keeps that batting average up. And then you got Springer, Carter, and Gaddis right in the middle with some power. That allows a little bit of pressure to be taken off with Singleton and Dominguez at the bottom. And then you got another on-base and a pretty good power guy himself at Lowry down there at the bottom.
Yeah, no, I like being able to push the lineup, extend the lineup the way that they did. Obviously, getting a legitimate bat is fantastic. What I don't like is it's another right-handed power bat. He's not a spectacular defender at any of the positions you would play him at. Left field, catcher, the third string catcher, right? Maybe a little bit of first base. So it'd be nice to have him clearly in a DH role, but I know that's not going to happen. That's one of the things that Luno liked about him was this position flexibility. I'm not big on that. Also, I'm not big on the strikeouts. He's another right-handed slugger. He's going to strike out a ton. Chris Carter strikes out a ton. Springer strikes out a ton. You know, at what point are we going to...
Singleton, Dominguez, they all strike out, man. They do. And especially those big three guys in the middle. You got Springer, Carter, Gaddis all right there in the middle, batting right-handed. Big power guys, but also, you know, you could be looking at close to 200 strikeouts with each of them. And that's going to be...
Production is a good thing, though. I like that. I like that there's more pop. Like I said, it extends the lineup to have Jed Lowry batting ninth, to have, you know, your questionable guys, questionable three guys in the lineup being, you know, Singleton, Castro, and Dominguez. Those are the guys, the question marks. Well, we know Dominguez isn't a great offensive player, but having to say, you know, Singleton and Castro need to step up what they did from last year.
Oh, yeah,
that's
definitely
pretty good. That have those be your weak spots in the lineup at this point. So don't get me wrong, I like that, but I just don't like that he's a similar type of player to the other successes that we had, the breakouts that we had in 2014. And I also don't like what we gave up.
That's true. Before we get there, though, Gaddis does provide a little bit of overlap, it seems. You know, you could stick him out in left field, which is, you know, maybe the plan, but it sounds like maybe only at Minute Maid could he really cover left field ground.
Right.
I think he's going to be more of the DH, and you stick Carter out there in left field. See which one is more up for it. I think Gaddis at this point in his career is a third string catcher at the most. But it also gives you that if Singleton fails and he can't hit left-handed pitching, you know, Gaddis can play a little first base and you got a platoon there.
The idea of a platoon, but it makes sense. It does make sense, and it gives you. You're right. It takes pressure off Singleton, but also sends a signal to Singleton that, hey, you know, time to wake up. I know you're a young guy, but you know we're not going to just sit here and watch you bat 200 or 180 or whatever.
Right.
Doing.
I don't think it immediately should worry Singleton. I think he's going to be given the full-time job, and he's going to hopefully come through. And this won't even be a discussion. He's going to hit.
I hope so.
He's going to hit 260 with 25 bombs and 80 RBIs, and we're all going to be happy this time next year.
I love it.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
But you're right. It was a trade, and all trades, if they're good, should hurt both sides. Atlanta gave up El Oso Blanco. What do we give up?
Well, we gave up 3 prospects, 2 of which are very near and dear to our hearts. I know that. And after reading your article that we posted on the Baseball Facebook site and also on the Twitter account, I was surprised to see that you weren't more critical of Luno for this trade, considering I think we gave up too much. We gave up Mike Foltynewicz, hard throwing, 100 mile per hour plus thrower, big arm, one of our big prospects. Yes, he was in the majors for a little bit last year, but didn't really get much of an opportunity. You give up him, you give up your big prospect at third base, Rio Ruiz, who I always thought was going to be a better prospect than Colin Moran. I'm not a big Colin Moran fan.
I know you're not.
Man,
I saw him referenced as Luno's white whale earlier this week. I don't know. Hopefully we're wrong about that. I'm not a big Colin Moran fan either. He's going to be given the chance to be that third base guy and hit. Cut down on he's not as big of a strikeout guy. He's apparently got the better bat, better stick, more contact. It doesn't look like he's got too much power at this point, and Rio Ruiz looked like he was the real deal. But he'd only played at high A was the only level the highest level he'd gotten to, and that's the California League, so that helped his numbers probably a little bit, made him feel a little bit more comfortable. I would have liked to have seen him what he could have done at Corpus Christi.
That's what I was looking forward to. Yeah,
and maybe really get an idea of what kind of player Rio Ruiz is going to be. But in the end, I think I said it in my article. I'm a big Folty guy. I love Folty and I love Rio Ruiz. And I was big on Andrew Thurman as well. I think he's got a nice arm. I think that the Braves made out extremely well.
Nice haul.
Yeah,
considering they're
well.
doing the teardown, and I think they get 3 really good prospects like that. It's fantastic. But I think it hurts even more when you saw the other deals. We talked about Matt Kemp and Upton, and yes, they don't have control over those players, the Padres, and they cost more money. But the Padres didn't have to give up big time prospects. And that's where our value is. Our value has always been, all right, we have all these guys on the cusp. We'll wait for the future. And
when do we get to see some of these guys?
Yeah, we spent some of that future on a guy that I like, but don't love for the price.
Right, I hear you. So I decided in the end when I was writing the article that I'm going to focus on the positives. I think that for 2015, the Astros have made themselves a better team. We haven't talked about this. Does free up maybe some flexibility to see what you can get for Chris Carter or Jason Castro. Not saying that Evan Gattis would be your replacement, but you did get Hank Conger earlier in the offseason.
Well, why the constant rotating door? Why would we need to move any of these guys right now?
Well, I think you're trying to bring in Hank Conger because he's the better defensive guy. He can also hit. But he's great, one of the top guys at pitch framing. I think that's something that this Astros organization and Luno, they covet. They really look at the analytics, and I'm on board with the pitch framing, and I think it's a good stat to look at. I would like to, you can move Castro because you do have Conger, you've got Corporon, and now you've got Gattis to be your third string guy. You've also got Max Stassi down there, who's looks like at one point he was going to hit. He had a down year this last year, but he's a good defensive catcher as well. So it gives you a little flexibility on future moves that you might want to do.
It makes sense on the depth with the catcher position. People need catchers out there, especially a good hitter generally. Castro is from the left side. Last year I don't know that he's 2013 Castro. I don't know that that's him, where he bats .276 and has an .835 OPS and hits 18 home runs.
I think that is Castro. I think that's the guy.
That's exactly him?
Yeah, I love this guy, man.
He had batted .222. He looked hurt, but he never said he was.
This is a guy I believe that, I may be wrong here, but I think he won a Cape Cod League batting title. And great hitter at Stanford. This is a guy that I think can hit. And, he had a bad year. He had a down year. I'm not going to make excuses for him. Maybe he was playing hurt. But I think this guy's legit. He's a good hitter. And hopefully he's healthy this year and we can see the real Jason Castro. And I think he's just going to be a leader for this young team.
Let's just hope if we trade him, we'll get a bag of balls in return.
Well, that's true.
Be careful with that.
I'm a little worried about, being on the bad side of trades recently. But you brought up the Padres and their moves. And I remember we were watching the winter meetings, and the Astros are doing nothing. Nothing's going on. All these teams are improving themselves. They get a new GM in San Diego, and he immediately makes the Padres interesting and a national conversation piece. And still, nothing from the Astros. We're an afterthought nationally. No one takes us seriously. It's going to be another down year, and I don't see why it has to be. And Lou now goes out and signs a couple of good arms with Gregerson and Pat Neshek. And to add to an already pretty good developing bullpen, he gets Lowry to hold down shortstop until Correa gets here. I know you really want to talk about Correa, and we'll do that. If not this show, we'll get to him next show. But you said it earlier. Justin Upton, is he worth giving up those three prospects? Because you're not guaranteed to have him after 1 year. And then Matt Kemp, yes, he signed through 2019, so you'd have him, but at a big price. Now the Dodgers did take some back, but I think you're still on the hook for about $75 million. And so that's Gaddis comes. You have him under your control for 4 more years at a reasonable price. You still got to go through the arbitration process in a couple of years. But right now, it just makes sense. I think the 2015 Astros team is a better team for making the trade. And prospects are just that. They're prospects. Yeah, we don't know.
You mortgage the future. Well, you mortgage the future. You paid out of that kitty to make the big league club good and relevant this year, which is exciting because we haven't looked that way in quite a while. And now you can kind of turn your sights towards what the other weaknesses are. You talked about the bullpen and putting those 2 arms at the end, Neshek and Gregerson, pushes calls to the 7th inning. You've got other guys who may come in and start to fill roles. We thought maybe Fulte would be that guy, but he's gone. But you're strong. That's all of a sudden, it's not a weakness that's been there for the last few years.
Yeah.
Also, we have this lineup now, and you want to talk about this projected lineup that you have? That we feel like is pretty competitive.
Obviously, there still could be moves, as we've mentioned. There could be some future moves. Carter may be moved. Castro could be moved.
Fowler could be moved.
I hope not. Fowler could be moved.
I want to keep him, but he's always in topic of discussion in these trade talks.
Fowler could be moved, but I seriously hope not. He's one of the top center fielders, on base percentage and defensively, and leadoff hitters are not easy to find. So my projected lineup here, obviously it's going to come down to AJ Hinch, but I got Fowler leading off playing center field. We got Altuve playing second base, and Springer batting third in right field, Carter in left field, Gaddis at DH. Obviously those two are interchangeable. Singleton at first, Castro catching, Dominguez at third base, and Lowry. Man, Lowry's your 9 guy.
That's really nice to have him.
And that is a deep lineup. I don't think too many other teams can say they have as deep of a lineup.
It's pretty good. Next time I want to talk to you about kind of the depth. Who's going to come off the bench and be those guys, those pinch hitters and stuff. But we're running short on time. What we want to do is try to keep these episodes to around 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah, and so we'll be talking about some of the other moves that have gone on in the off season, and some of the things that have happened this week, such as the arbitration guys. I believe we have a couple left, and we'll get into all that. But what I want to tell you right now before we go is, for all you guys watching out there, be sure to remember that the Astros Caravan starts this week. It's the 20th through the 23rd, and they will be in Houston all 4 days. They're going to be in Brownsville on the 20th, San Antonio on the 21st, Austin on the 22nd, and Corpus Christi on the 23rd at the Academies. And so go check that out and go say hi to some of the guys that we've been talking about.
Yeah,
little H-Town baseball coming at you. I think the other thing is that next Saturday is a big day. Astros Fan Fest.
Fan Fest. I'm looking forward to taking my 2 boys. And
taking the boys out there?
Yeah, just going to shake Altuve's hand, tell him in person how amazing I thought his season was, since I had been dogging on him for the last couple seasons for his on-base percentage. But yeah, that's going to be fun. Always fun to take the kids to and meet some of the players, and it's just a nice environment to be around.
Good deal. So I think that wraps up for this show.
Almost.
Almost, that's right. I'm glad you caught me. I believe we told you last time we're going to try to have a bald guy of the week. One guy that really
Current ball player.
current ball player that really represents what we're here talking about, Basebald. And we had a guy all picked out, ready to go. One of my favorites. And but I think we're gonna have to save him for later because we're gonna start it off the right way with an Astro, current Astro, El Oso Blanco.
Evan Gaddis, welcome to Houston. You're our ball guy.
All right, guys, take care, play ball, and go Stros.
Go Stros.